Hi guys, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name's Abby. If you're not, welcome back. Today we are canning up a recipe that has become a staple on our pantry shelf. It is something that I'm finding myself grab pretty much weekly, and it is an instant hummus in a jar recipe. It's not blended, but it's got all the ingredients with the exception of olive oil in that jar ready to go, so you can just drain off some of the liquid, add it to a blender or a food processor, and have yourself some hummus in just a couple minutes. So that is what we're gonna be doing today. We're gonna be doing 3 different variations of this recipe: a roasted garlic, a roasted red pepper, and then a jalapeno. But before we hop into the video, I just wanted to be very clear that this is not a tested recipe. The bulk of the ingredients that we're gonna be using today are perfectly safe for pressure canning, being the chickpeas, the lemon juice, the garlic, some seasonings, and then roasted red peppers and the jalapenos. The only ingredient that could be potentially questionable, I personally feel perfectly safe canning with it, are the sesame seeds. So I just wanted to make that very clear. You do have the option to make this recipe without the sesame seeds and just add them in when you go to blend this up. I do choose to include them. I was able to find one tested recipe, there could be more, that did include sesame seeds. However, it was a pickling recipe, it was a water bath canning recipe, but I just wanted to be clear on that before we hop into the video. So I've got all of my ingredients prepped, and we're gonna be making 12 pints today, and for that I needed 2 pounds of dried garbanzo beans. So last night I just soaked those, left them overnight for probably about 12 to 13 hours, then drained off that water this morning, added 2 quarts of fresh water to the pot, brought that up to a boil for 30 minutes. So these are not fully cooked, but you do want them to be partially cooked. The 30 minutes is what is recommended. So then we have our lightly toasted sesame seeds. We have some raw garlic, which we're gonna be using in the jalapeno hummus and the roasted red pepper hummus. I have some pickled jalapenos, some lemon juice, our roasted garlic. And for the roasted garlic, I just removed most of that papery skin, trimmed the tops off about 1/4 inch, drizzled a little bit of olive oil, and then roasted those for 30 minutes at 400. And then we have our roasted red peppers. So per jar, we are gonna be using half of 1 red pepper. I just roasted those in quarters in the oven about 425 for 30 minutes, broiled them a bit to get the tops nice and blackened, and that just makes it really easy to peel off those skins. So we will be removing the skins before we add them to the jars. So for the roasted garlic hummus, I've got 4 cloves of roasted garlic in each pint jar, and then I'm adding 4 cloves of raw garlic into the jars that we're doing for the jalapeno hummus and the roasted red pepper hummus. If you wanted to just make a classic hummus, instead of doing the roasted garlic, you could just do raw garlic in its place. Now for the jalapeno hummus, I'm just adding in 1/3 cup of pickled jalapenos. This would probably be really good with some cilantro as well. I'm just gonna keep it plain with the jalapenos though. Okay, and then for the roasted red pepper hummus, there are my roasted red peppers. I just transferred them into a bowl and covered them, which just helps the skin slip off a little bit easier. So these have shrunk down quite a bit. I'm just gonna remove these skins, and then we're gonna add a half of a pepper per, like a half of a full bell pepper per jar. So that'll be 2 quarters. I cut these into quarters. You can see how easily that skin just slips off. If you've got canned roasted red peppers on hand, you could easily swap those in. I would probably just do a couple slices, but that is it for like the flavorings of these. Now per jar, I'm gonna be adding in 1/4 cup of toasted sesame seeds. Again, if you are not comfortable with this, don't do it. You could easily add in the sesame seeds when you go to blend this, or you could use tahini when you blend it as well, but I wouldn't put tahini directly in here. Okay, and then we're gonna add in lemon juice. So the original recipe that I found, I'll leave that link down below, as well as what I'm doing for all of these, called for a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. I am gonna be doing 3 tablespoons. I found it to be a little bit too lemony for our preference on that last batch. Okay, so we're gonna add in a teaspoon of sea salt to each jar. And the reason I'm putting all of these kind of mix-ins into the bottom of the jar is just so I know how many chickpeas to add. I leave enough room for everything. Then I've got smoked paprika and cumin. So I'm gonna use the smoked paprika in the roasted red pepper hummus, and then the cumin in with the jalapeno hummus. So I'm gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon, I think. What did I write? Yeah, I'm gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon per jar. So a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin for the jalapeno hummus. And a 1/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika for the roasted red pepper hummus. So I'm gonna get these chickpeas evenly divided between all of these jars, and then we're gonna get this topped off with boiling water. If I didn't already mention it, I'm not sure if I did, we are working with hot jars here. Headspace looks good on all of these. We are right at 1 inch, and I'm just giving the rims a good wipe down with some warm water, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get the lids on them. And then we are gonna process these for 75 minutes. So when you pull a jar of this off of your pantry shelf, what you're gonna wanna do is drain off some of the liquid, but reserve it. And then you can blend it or food process it, and just keep adding back some of that liquid until it is the consistency that you like your hummus to be. All right, we've got all those jars out of the canner. Everything looks wonderful. They have all sealed beautifully. Here is the roasted red pepper instant hummus in a jar. Looks awesome. If you guys try this recipe, leave me a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. Or if you've got other flavor suggestions, would love to hear that as well. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.